Hey everyone, Meryl here for some low budget quarantine yoga. It's Sunday, it's Easter, I think. Um, but I heard they were going to pause Easter this year because, everything that's going on. Anyways, finally it's raining, which is great. Say hello to Nibbler. Good morning. And today we're going to be doing a yin yoga session. And for those of you that don't know, yin yoga is a very passive style of yoga. So if you look at Nibbler right now, she's very passive. She's just letting me do this. She's a great cat. She's just being there in the shape that I'm making her be in, letting go and surrendering to it. So that's kind of the idea of what we want for yin yoga, is to simply just be. All right, you're free. Go on. So we'll begin. For props, you might want blocks or books or a blanket. Watch out, baby. Something that's a rectangular-like firm surface. So find that. And our first pose will be a seated forward fold. And especially if you're doing this super early in the morning, everything's going to be quite tight, quite bound up. So just be patient with yourself. And the way I like to support this one is I'll put blocks by my sides and put my arms on blocks so I don't have to go all the way to the floor, because especially early that can be quite challenging. I'm going to put you all on a little timer. And you're going to work your way into a seated forward fold. So you'll let the arms relax, the head be heavy. And something to remember about yin yoga is that we're never going 100% into the stretch. And we want to start off in the shallow end. So we're never jumping in the deep end. That will make it become very fiery very quickly. So remember, stay passive, patient, and keep your breath long. A few more deep breaths. And we'll take a deep breath in. And exhale, press down into the hands, roll up one vertebra at a time, head last. Let's go for a big shoulder roll 3 times, up, back, and down. And after your 3 shoulder rolls, take your hands behind you, fingertips point away from you. Allow yourself to sink into the shoulders and close down the eyes for a moment to feel the sensations in the body. And we'll gently blink the eyes open and prepare for the next pose. So bound angle, or butterfly, is what they call it in yin, and is a common term outside of yoga. So you'll bring the soles of the feet together, and instead of bringing the heels in as close as possible, think about scooting them away a bit so you're creating a bit more of a diamond shape with the space in between your legs. If your knees pull up really high, it's nice to support them with blocks and have the blocks in line with the shins or with the femur bones. So if you have it going, again, with the length of the bone either way, that kind of feels a little better. So, and if you don't need blocks under your legs, don't worry about it. Sometimes it's nice to have blocks for your head here. So you're sitting on your what's called ischial tuberosities, or your sits bones is a very common term. Give them a little walk back behind you, and notice how that helps tip the hips forward. And we'll work with that little assist and give yourself any sways, any movement that feels nice to fold forward here. So just like you did before, you relax into the shape that your body makes. You're not pushing, you're not pulling, but instead you simply allow yourself to just be. We'll stay here for a few more breaths. And in the next moment or so, we'll roll it on up out of the pose. Head last. A few shoulder rolls up, back, and down. And we'll pause at the top, close down the eyes, witness the release. We'll blink the eyes open and prepare for the next shape. So we'll straighten the legs out and we're taking them wide. Wide angle seated forward fold. In yin, it's called caterpillar. Nope, that's a straight leg seated forward fold. This one's dragonfly. We've evolved, sorta. So don't worry about getting the legs out as far as they can. That's going to make the stretch really intense, more intense than it already is. So think about closing the gap a little bit and not having it as wide as possible. Same idea with the sitting bones. Walk them back behind you just like you did. And if you find yourself really rounding in the spine, take your fingertips behind you of both hands and help tip the hips forward, so that anterior tilt. And this might be enough for you once you get to that position. And then if you want, you can fold forward just like we have been. This is a nice one for props. I kind of like to put a block underneath my sternum so I don't go all the way into the pose, because it can get a little too much to hold for a while. It's pretty intense. So slowly but surely we begin to fold and settle here. And we'll stay here for about 3 more deep breaths. And when you're ready, bring it on up. Pause at the top. we'll move any props aside. Bring your hands to the backs of the knees, draw the knees in towards one another, wrap the arms around the legs, hug the thighs in towards the midline so you're engaging inner thigh muscles. And we'll take a moment to bow the head. So here we're engaging the muscles we just stretched, squeezing muscles back to bones, a little yang for the yin. And we'll soften that. Very nice. All right, we're going to come to a certain style of sitting. That was weird. So bring one shin in closer to you. It doesn't matter which one because we're going to switch. And then bring the other one in front of it. So we're not stacking, we're not crossing at the ankle joint, but it's one in front of the other. And then you're going to try to kind of hug it in a little bit, your legs. You might need to do a little sitting bone shimmy to find a level pelvis. Excuse me. And we're going to settle here into this pose. And so same idea, if you want to block, we're going to fold forward and you're going to feel it kind of in the outer hips a bit, especially perhaps a bit more with the leg that's further in front. And we're going to move it also a bit from side to side in the fold. So same idea. Let the spine round, body comes down. And if you can't find the floor comfortably, you can place your arms on blocks. That's a nice variation. And we'll lift the torso up just enough and walk the hands over to one side at an angle. It doesn't matter which side because you will switch. And whichever side you're reaching to, extend the opposite arm in that direction, trying to get a stretch on into the side body as well. Let the opposite hip really sink into the mat. So there's a little more engagement in this pose. And inhale through the center. Exhale over to the other side. And we'll bring it back to the center for a few more breaths. Hi, baby. And we'll roll it up. Shoulder roll. And we'll release the legs for a moment. Let's give our knees a little massage. And we'll prepare for the other side. So switch the crossing of your leg. So whichever one was in front first, now the opposite will be. Remember to kind of like snug it in, a little sitting bone shimmy, nice level pelvis. And just like before, we'll fold. And we'll lift the torso up just a bit. Walk the hands over to one side and settle down here. And we'll breathe in through the center. Exhale over, other side. And back to the center, a few breaths. Slow motion, roll it up. Let's take a shoulder roll 2 times, up, back, and down. Flutter the eyes open if they're closed. All right, so this last little bit, we're gonna come onto our back, and you're gonna wanna have either a block or something like it. Maybe your hardback cover of Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows, or another book that is about this thick, or it can be less, not a big deal. So we're gonna come onto our back, and have the feet flat, so the knees are bent. You're gonna find your block, book, whatever. Oh, sorry. Lift your hips up and slide it underneath your sacrum, the big flat bone at the bottom of the spine, and have it a little higher than you think you need to. So oftentimes we want it more towards the tailbone, but for now we're gonna have it a bit more up towards the spine, so it's on the lower back. And then once you're there, you're gonna bring your knees into your chest. You may notice you need to adjust a little bit once you get to that position. Take the time to do that. And we'll interlace the fingers around the right knee and extend the left leg long and let it come all the way to the floor. Or it might float if the hip flexor is a bit tight. So we'll stay here for a few moments. And so even though this isn't quite a traditional yin pose, try to only hold this with as much energy that you actually need. So notice what you don't need here in this shape. And can you let go of whatever that may be? And let's take a deep inhale. As you exhale, engage your core, draw the left knee in to meet the right. Both knees in. We'll take it to the other side, interlace fingers around left knee, extend right foot long. Let it relax onto the floor as you hug the left knee in. Try to let go of what you don't need. Soften here. And one more full breath in. And as you exhale, draw the knee in towards your chest. And final pose here, flatten the feet onto the mat. Adjust the block a little bit further down towards your tailbone. So it's gonna not be so high up, but instead further down. And you're gonna come to either supported bridge or supported shavasana. So either stay with feet flat, knees bent, or extend the legs long. Take any micro adjustments you may need. This should be a gentle passive hip opener. And then arms can come by the side body, or you can take them over your head, adjust the block accordingly. If your low back isn't having it, keep the feet flat. You can even change the height of the block if you wish. So settle into this pose. You can be here as long as you want. You can treat this like your Shavasana. And I'm going to peace out. So happy Sunday. It is Easter. If that's for you, happy Easter. Enjoy the day, enjoy the rain, and know that you are complete. Bye.